It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. Hope you're having a beautiful day. We are going to zoom in and focus in a little bit more in depth on a great viewer question, and that is to understand really how to work through a feeling of chronic anxiety, social anxiety, kind of losing trust in life after you've been through kind of a traumatic or tumultuous relationship with an emotionally manipulative individual, someone who has taken advantage of you, taken you for a rough ride, someone who has perhaps engaged in a lot of gaslighting, shame-based criticism, scapegoating you, the smear campaign, just trying to put you in an awfulizing light, and there's really nothing you can do to crawl out of the deep dark hole that they have created for you. And how do you get through that anxiety? How do you get through it feeling strong, stable, kind of human again? But before we get started, I want to zoom in and focus in on our contributors. Thank you so much for those of you who have recently donated to the channel. Whoop whoop, we do have Michigan in the house. So nice to hear from you and your strides that you're making. And thank you so much for your contributions and donations. It's viewers like you that make it all worthwhile and let me know that we're helping you to make progress and that things are really kind of hitting home and you're starting to see a little bit of light outside of the bleakness. So thank you so much for your donations, and great to have Michigan in the house. Love Michigan. And absolutely, if there's viewers of you who I have been a positive influence or impact, please feel free to give back and participate and donate to the channel. There's a little PayPal Donate Now button there on the home page. You can make a contribution. And also real quick, I've received questions from viewers who, once again, who are wondering why the video alerts aren't coming up in their news feed. And I do believe along with like the YouTube algorithms, you do need to kind of like click on the ads once in a while or make a comment or a thumbs up or something for it to continue to be on top there. So if you haven't like clicked on the ads that tend to run through the videos or participated in that way, that could help. So just try that. So hopefully that'll work for you. So we're going to zoom in and focus in a little bit more in depth in terms of understanding the anxiety that can be created around a malignant narcissist relationship, an emotional manipulator who has really tried to make you feel that you are less than, inferior than, not as smart as, not as attractive. You can't get your word in edgewise. You can't get the floor. You can't speak up. You're constantly getting the looks, the psychopathic gaze, where you feel that this person is eating you alive with a cold, callous, sort of emotionless stare. Or it could be the other way around, where it has been sort of an enticing or seductive psychopathic gaze, where they're looking at you with these sort of smoldering eyes, where you feel that this can be like part of attractiveness. And, you know, you're now kind of anxious if you're not receiving that look, if you're not receiving that attention. You don't have a sense of self-reliance, independence, self-trust. You feel that you're putting on shaky ground. And this can come in a variety of different formats and you know, a number of different life stages, but namely the feeling of anxiety, feeling that you don't have what it takes, that someone is going to be judging you, or that you are fearful of the next drop of the shoe. In other words, when's the next big hit going to come? Am I going to hear a criticism? Are they going to emotionally blackmail me? Are they going to create a sort of, slew of lies about me that I'm going to have trouble defending myself against? So there is this feeling of impending doom, or that it's difficult to defend yourself against what is coming. In other words, there's a lack of self-reliance, self-responsibility, the ability to respond to your ability. If we look at the root word of responsibility is response to your ability. So if you don't have a sense of this independence, if you weren't taught this, or this experience has been robbed of you in your relationship, then it's going to feel very uncomfortable. It's going to feel as if you're missing something. You can't get by without this person. You don't have an internal mechanism of self-trust or belief in self, and you're always feeling like you have it externalized. And so this can oftentimes create a feeling of perpetual anxiety, not knowing the cause, and feeling as if, this judgment is it's unassailable. In other words, you can never get beyond it. This person knows something about you, or they've been able to win you over or win you under, or whatever it is, that they have had power over you before, and you feel that now that this has occurred, I can never move beyond it. It's a feeling of not really, of spinning your wheels, not being able to get out of that feeling of judgment or their heavy-handedness. And when you think about fear or anxiety, it's not only false evidence appearing real, but it's saying that you have power over my emotions. And I equate it to the body. The body is running the mind. In other words, it's like the person who compulsively eats. Their body has control. They don't have control. The person who compulsively gambles. The gambling slot is running them. They're not running the gambling slot. Same way with the other addictions, the sex addiction. It's like the body is running you. And then you begin to become defined by this experience rather than you defining yourself and your place in the world. So it's being made to feel that your identity, i.e. who you are, how your thoughts, behaviors, and emotions are organized around something oftentimes very pivotal in your life. And so it's really important to then tighten up the reins on yourself so that you're not flapping all over the place in feeling as if, this person, this experience, this history is controlling where you're going in the future. Just because you've had some challenges, you've gotten into some bad habits. This person might have gotten you into a certain community or a certain set of behaviors or feelings or relationship patterns which you feel that are indelible, just basically part of you, and you can never kind of grow beyond. This is to realize that you are, you're in a state of flawed thinking. To feel that, this fear is going to run your life is to allow that to have power over you, and you're not in a state of personal power. So really, the personal power has to come when you have the awareness that you are bigger than the relationship. You are more than the addiction. You are more than this set of learned behaviors, that this has been a pattern and repeated over time, and you've memorized it and relearned it and sort of kept it in place. But so it's realized that it has been a learned reaction, and it is just that. So rather than being reactive, it's important for you to now learn to be more responsible, respond to your ability. And that is your ability to control your emotions and use a little bit more of your intellect rather than just your physical body. When you're stuck in the fight or flight, it's like you're in the limbic brain, the brain stem, those lower parts, those lower energies, and not allowing your prefrontal cortex, your ability to have vision, better judgment for yourself. You're not allowing those higher parts of the mind to help redirect you out of that very strong and powerful feeling. Fear is a very strong and powerful feeling, and if this person can keep you in a state of fear, then they have control over you. And even if they're not in the picture, if you allow this to perpetuate, the feeling that you're not good enough, the feeling that if you go out and, you meet somebody, that you're not going to know what to say, you're not going to know what to wear, you're not going to know how to feel, you're not going to know how to focus. All these feelings of I don't know how are what are plaguing you, and you're not giving yourself the ability to have better confidence and trust in yourself, you do know what to say. You do know what to, to wear. You do know how to feel. You can manage this. So it's those unmanageable feelings, though, of feeling of fear, trepidation, external judgment, and having to conform to the past, which is part of the creation of the anxiety. And essentially, when you're in that mode, you're not feeling happy. You are not feeling at peace. And peace is your most important, peace of mind is going to be your most important quality to really come to terms with. So rather than feeling pushed around under that heavy burden of the criticism, it is to come and to realize that is their judgment, and those are the typical textbook, control metrics of an emotionally manipulative person, a psychopath also. They're going to basically exploit your fear, the fear that you're lonely, the fear that you don't want to be alone, the fear that you can't make it without them, the fear that, you can't have another healthy relationship. Now that they've got you hypersexualized, who's going to pick up where they left off? In all these, unassailable excuses, which they get you to be regressed back into. So just be careful that you're not buying the excuses. You're not buying the fear. You'll have nothing to do with it. That fear, look at, is fear motivating your life, or is peace and harmony motivating your life? To always be run by fear is to really be committed to adrenal fatigue. It's to be, committed to stress. It's to be committed to the feeling that I'm not good enough. I don't have what it takes. I don't deserve to be happy. I have to live on someone else's standards versus my own. I have to prey to the consumer mindset. I have to have this car, this job, this house, this brand, whatever it is. It's to feel that you have to have that pressure from outside and not from within. You know what I'm saying? It's about finding that comfort level within yourself and being okay with being comfortable. But if you've been in a manipulative relationship, an intimidating relationship where you've been ruled by force, it's not going to feel, it's not going to feel very comfortable, or you're not going to have the repetition and experience of being at peace, of being comfortable with yourself. This is, you're going to feel unsafe being at peace. It's going to be foreign. It's not going to feel right. You're not going to feel that you can trust your environment. You're always used to flinching and flailing, waiting for the door to slam, waiting for someone to start yelling at you, waiting for someone to stop, shaking their finger at you, shaking their fist, kicking at you, whatever it is, assailing you with mental slander. You're always going to be on edge and feeling like you're just ready to flinch and fail. Your body is armored up so that you're always, you're just always tense. That is not a comfortable place to be when your body is running your life like that. And so it's important to take a step back and come into a more peaceful body and to just relax, and is to say, okay, I've got the helm now. I've got the steering wheel. I've got the emotional steering wheel, and I can direct myself and stop, and realize when I'm being snagged back into that feeling of anxiety, and just to realize and understand the cause is because where it came from. Look at where the anxiety came from, and look at the hands who put that there. In other words, it's, if you could, sweep up the glass that you're walking on, and rather than feeling you're on pins and needles, rather than this putting your life into a number of different pieces, which are just shards of glass or, shrapnel that you feel is always, bothering you in your skin, it's to clean that up. It's to say, those sharp, edgy points are no longer, on my path. They're no longer in my environment. They're cleaned up. They're picked up. I understand the fear and trepidation and intimidation that was thrust into my body as a result of this relationship. And that fear is no longer motivating me. This negativity is no longer motivating me. I'm motivated now. I'm safe to be motivated by something more simple, safer, more positive. And I can have the good that they promised me I would never have. So it's to break their promises and really kind of break through that limitation. And it is to really understand that is what is creating the anxiety and the unhappiness. And to not wait for certain specific things to become happy. In other words, you can be happy in this moment if you give yourself a chance. And, you're only as happy as you make your mind up to be Abraham Lincoln. So these little snippets are very powerful when you give yourself a chance to really understand that you have a choice to how you feel. So it's your physiology that needs to kind of calm down. And so, calming down. There is no danger in being calm. So if you can look at really who put that message there. Why was it so scary? Why was it so wrong for you to be at peace? Why is it so scary? Why is it so wrong for you to feel that you are good enough? Why is it so scary? Why is it so comfortable for you to have compliments? Why is it so scary? Why is it so uncomfortable for you to have, your thoughts in control rather than your body running away? Why do you need to hang on to this negative feeling? What is the payoff? And so if you can answer these questions, you'll see that there are some very interesting answers. And so it is to say, okay, I understand this ripple effect, and I do have the ability, i.e. the ability to respond to my abilities within. And even though this person couldn't recognize or validate my abilities, I know what they are, and I'm okay with now taking myself further along the path into growth versus being held back. In other words, being kept small, being kept afraid is not a lot of fun. And to see how you've been depriving yourself, it's to say, okay, now I'm no longer going to deprive myself, and I'm going to surround myself by non-narcissistic relationships. I'm going to surround myself with people who can look upon me with respect and trust and confidence, and that I'm okay now feeling comfortable with these qualities. And that I can back myself up, I can keep these going, moving forward, that this is what life has in store for me. So you have to kind of blow out the expectations of the narcissist or the psychopath, and then give yourself your own expectations. And it's very important for you to set yourself little by little better expectations. In other words, I'm not going to regress here today. I actually feel better and feel healthier when I don't regress, when I don't slide back into the old role, when I don't fall for the excuses. I'm able to see what excuses are. I'm bold enough to think clearly. It takes a lot of boldness and audacity, oftentimes, stepping out on your own and being self-reliant to admit that you're out of the reach of this person. So oftentimes, people would rather have the companionship of an abuser versus, just being with, outside of their reach. And so you have to say, wow, have I allowed this to happen? Have I allowed this to happen, peace and harmony? Am I taking this abuser as comfort versus being on my own as comfort? Am I staying small? Am I staying hidden? What are my secrets that are keeping me into this smaller realm, that are keeping me in an inexperienced life? And so once you see that, you'll say, okay, I see how I was, staying small. I was staying stuck. I was in a not so good place, and it's okay for me to move beyond that. I do have what it takes to be able to protect and take care of myself. So even though this person might have a lot of quote unquote proof to that you don't, or you haven't given yourself the self-trust and experience to move forward, that you can show yourself otherwise. So you can say, okay, I am beyond being led by my body. I am beyond being motivated by fear. I am beyond being motivated by the shackles of this relationship. And I'm not motivated by that anymore. I'm actually motivated by something very positive. Oftentimes that's something very good that this other person will never know, will never validate in me. They don't have the ability. They just don't have that within to let me go. I have to be the one to let me go. And I am confident enough. And when you do that, you'll begin to realize that the anxiety was a learned physiological response to protect you against a dangerous or hazardous other. But once again, it takes a lot of courage to say this is no longer the center of my life. It takes a lot of boldness and courage to say, this pattern is no longer how I'm going to have my feeling routine. That's why I talk about how important it is to enforce within your calendar the opportunity to go out and do some different things, even if it makes you uncomfortable. At least your body will respond to your acts of courage. Your body will, respond with a feeling of pride. You'll begin to have a feeling of, root connection within yourself. And even if you feel, well, the roots aren't very strong yet, peace and harmony, little by little, the roots within yourself will get stronger. You'll start to clear away. You'll start to detox from those very fearful anxiety feelings that have been caused by an emotionally manipulative relationship, by a malignant narcissist, a covert narcissist, or a psychopath. This is your buddy, peace and harmony with you here today. And I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.